Everybody from? You guys from Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut?
Yeah,
5 miles down the road.
Okay, 5 miles down the road. All right. The number one determining factor that you've got to take a look at when you're fishing is water color. Okay? I have a lot of guys who talk about water temp and what to expect with water temperatures and things like that. The number one most important consideration every day when you go fishing, whether you're a shore fisherman or whether you're fishing from a bridge, whether you're fishing from a boat, is what's the color of the water. And the reason I say that is this, that the darker the water, the shallower the fish. So in chocolate milk colored water, we don't have a lot of that up here. Mostly clear water, right? Our problem is we got water that's too clear. Okay? So the dirtier the water, the shallower the fish live. The clearer the water, so crystal clear water, the deeper the fish live and spend their time. So that's the first thing. Secondly, watercolor again is going to determine how they feed. So if you imagine all of us putting on a scuba mask and diving in the water, if it's crystal clear, we can see real good, right? So if we're eating, as fish, we're eating bluegill, yellow perch, if we're eating smelt, if we're eating minnows, if we're eating crawfish, if the water's crystal clear, not only are the fish deeper, but fish feed primarily by sight in clear water. So one, they know we're there. So as fishermen around clear water, we want to make long casts away from where we are on the shore, right? Does that make sense? We don't want them to know that we're there. They know we're there. And I can tell you why I know they're there. I've had probably 5 or 6 times in my career, I've made long casts with spinnerbaits, crankbaits, and out of the corner of my eye, I can see a shadow moving. So I fire a spinnerbait out like this, and I can see under the water a shadow moving like this. 5 or 6 times in my career, I've seen smallmouth come up out of the water and eat that bait before it hit the water. So not only can they see underwater, they see above the water. They can see through the water. They know we're there. So in clear water, it's harder for us to catch fish because they can see us and they know something's not right. They don't really know what we're doing. They don't know what we're there. They just, remember, to them, anything that's different in their environment causes them to think it's a predator. Okay? Secondly, because they feed by sight, they're an expert on what the food they're eating looks like. So if the fish are eating an alewife, predominantly white, okay, and you throw an orange-colored crankbait that's 6 inches long, but they're eating 3-inch-long silver alewife, you think they're going to eat your crankbait. They're not. So in clear water, not only do you have to match the hatch. You have to match the size of the fish as much as you can. So if they're eating 2.5-inch white minnows, you want to throw a 2.5-inch white minnow imitation. Does that make sense? Okay. If they're eating black-colored fish or bluegill-colored fish, that's the color you want to throw. That's what you want to imitate. If they're eating brown crawfish on the bottom that are 3 inches long, you want to make up a bait that's brown colored, 3 inches long, that's got little flapping arms on it. Does that all make sense? Okay. In dark colored water, the fish live shallower. They don't feed primarily by sight. They don't see good. Water's muddy. They feed by vibration. They feel changes in the water, and by scent. So, if we have a choice, if we back our boat in the water, or we're shore fishermen walking up and down the bank, do you want to find water that's crystal clear, or do you want to find water that's muddy? You want muddy. Yes, you do. So when I go down south where you get a lot of dirty water, you get a lot of reservoirs with dams, I go as far away from the dam as I possibly can. Why? Because the dam has deep, crystal clear water in front of it. The further up I go into those creek arms, I can find muddy, shallow water. So that's what I'm looking for. That makes sense? Okay. So as a shore fisherman, if you're fishing crystal clear water, and you can only cast your lure out 100 feet, all right? I mean, think of a shore fisherman. The depth to a shore fisherman is crystal clear water, because they can't cast it out far enough to get to the deep fish, okay? So shore fishermen absolutely have to pick muddy water, because they want to fish in an area where the fish are shallow, and they want to throw spinner baits. They want to throw crankbaits that give off big thumping vibrations, okay? So watercolor is the first most determining factor. Now, if you're fishing, and up here in New England, all of New England, most of our bodies of water are natural, natural lakes, rivers, streams, and they're natural. That means they're clearer. And it also means that throughout the whole body of water, it's primarily the same color, right? It's not like, well, it's deep, it's darker down here, it's thinner, you know what I mean? The water has a consistent color to it. Still, you want to find, if you can, you know how sometimes we get an algae bloom, and there's a lot of green in the water? Fish that area. I have guys say, I won't fish up there, there's all the algae in the water. I say, okay, you just stay down here in the crystal clear water, I'll go fish up there and see what I can do. I know they're going to be shallow. Now, here's the other thing. Do you think it's easier to know exactly what your lure is doing if your lure is in 3 feet of water or in 68 feet of water? 3, right? So what I want to do is things, you already know this stuff, you just don't know you know this stuff. I know exactly what my lure is doing in 2 to 3 foot of water. I'm not so sure exactly what it's doing in 68 feet of water, right? It's a long ways down there. Okay, so we want to improve our odds. We want to catch fish and make it as easy as possible. We want dirty water. We want to fish shallow. So now we have to start thinking about how do fish feed in dirty water. They feed by vibration and scent. So vibration. How do we, you wouldn't throw a jerk bait in muddy water, would you? Think about, does everyone know what a jerk bait is and how they work? If you don't, you say, I don't know what it is. All right? So jerk bait looks like a crankbait. They use anywhere from 3-4 inches long to maybe 7, 8, 9 inches long. It looks like a thin minnow. Okay? You cast it out, you crank it down, it dives to a certain depth, let's say 5, 6 feet. And then you jerk it along. Jerk, 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 let it sit. Jerk, 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 and let it sit. Doesn't give off a lot of vibration. Has no scent to it, it's a plastic bait. Do you think that'd be better in clear water or dirty water? Clear, exactly right. So, all these clear lakes that we fish that have smallmouth in it, you want to throw jerk baits all year long. All year long. And in muddy water, I'm going to want to throw baits that are going to give off vibrations and or scent. So, I'm going to throw spinner baits, big thumping blades that give off huge thumps in the water so they can come find you. I'm going to throw big jigs with big trailers. Things like this. This is a jig trailer. You can also use this Texas rig. It's the Berkeley Power Bait Crazy Legs Chigga Craw. So you can just put a slip sinker on and a big old hook. Look at this thing. It's got these crazy legs that come out here. All this stuff is giving off vibrations, and all these appendages on it giving off vibrations as it moves through the water. I use this as a trailer. Right. What I'll do is this. I always am changing my baits around, so when I put this on a jig, I rip the crazy legs off, I break off half of this, and I use just half of it. So it looks like on my jig trailer, I've already got a jig, which is giving me a whole bunch of neat stuff, but I add this trailer. So that's the crazy leg chicken craw. Here's the same bait with the crazy legs ripped off and the back half of the body ripped off. All I'm doing here is I'm downsizing the bait because, one, I know the crawfish here in Massachusetts, New England, because our waters are colder, and there's a long period of time that's going on right now where there's hibernation and there's a lot of, because they're cold-blooded, they're not moving around a lot. They're not moving around a lot, they're not eating a lot. They're not eating a lot, they're not growing very big. So you want a jig, a combination of a jig and a trailer, that looks the right size, the right shape, the right color in clear water. In dark water, I want this whole thing to be black. Right? It's got all these flappers to give off all this vibration. I want to have a whole bunch of scent. That's why I love power bait and gulp. But I want this dark as possible. They're going to hear it hitting the water, and they're going as it falls, and these flappers go like this as it falls. It's giving off all these vibrations. Fish are curious. They come and they feel the vibration. It's when they get close to it, they're hoping it's something they can eat, but they're curious. They come over to help them find it in muddy water. You want this as dark as possible. They'll put anything in their mouth. They'll pick it up. If it doesn't feel right, they'll spit it out. If they pick it up and it feels right, like texture, think about when you put Jell-O in your mouth and squish it around. You kind of know how funny that feels? Well, bass know exactly what a crawfish feels like. And these plastic trailers give it that soft feel that they feel when they bite into and they inhale crawfish. The power bait scent that's in there helps them hang on to it longer. It gives them some taste so that they'll hang on to it longer. Why is that important? Exactly right. The longer, so I make a cast, so this is a boat dock and it's got a nitro boat on it. I skip it underneath, fish eats it now. I'm letting it sit there, and I don't know the fish has got it already. Now I pick up, if it looks right, if it feels right, and if it tastes right, he still got it in his mouth, he thinks it's real. Now I lift up, I feel the fish is there, boom, I set the hook. So when Berkeley says that their power bait, fish bite and won't let go, that's what it means. So what you want is you want a bait that fools them completely. It's an artificial bait. We want it to look right. We want it to move properly, give off the right kind of vibration that they've chased that bait down before. We want it to feel right in their mouth, and we want it to taste right. So watercolor tells us if we're going to fish at a lake one day and it's crystal clear water, yes, you want to start in the shallow. You do. But the big fish in that lake, for the most part, their home is going to be the deepest part of that lake. Once, maybe twice a day, they'll migrate shallow. Could be right first thing in the morning. So you guys probably get on the water early in the morning like I do, like at 4 a.m., right? Yeah.
Close.
People tell me all the time, I want your job. I want to come fish. I get on the water at 4 a.m. I get off at 9 p.m. at night. Okay? You want to come do that 225 days a year? Bring it on. Okay? That's the kind of days that we're putting in out there. Why? Because I'm competing against the best guys in the world. These guys are good. They're not only experts at these lures and stuff we're talking about, they're experts on fish migration. They see a cloud cover the sun, and they know, oh, that means the fish are going to do this now. And they move into different areas. Oh, the rain's coming in. Oh, the wind picked up. They know where to be. The thing that separates, people ask me all the time, how come Van Dam wins everything? One of the things that Kevin does very, very well is when I'm trying to figure out the pattern, where are they now? How deep are they? What are they eating? How to move that bait? Kevin's already got that down. And he's thinking, where are they going to be in an hour from now? Where are they going to be 2 hours from now? And what are they going to be doing? Where do I need to be? And he's moving there, and the fish come to him. He's ahead of the rest of us. That's how his brain processes all the variables, the weather, the color of the water, the temperature, the time of year, what kind of baits work, the pressure in an area. You get 30, 40, 50 guys who know how to throw a jig in an area where there's a lot of big fish. After a day or so of that, those fish start feeling pressured by all the boats, all the trolling motors going around, all the jigs whizzing by their heads. And they start moving away, or they start hibernating deeper into the cover. It gets harder to catch those fish. So here locally, you have to pay attention to watercolor. Because our waters are very clear, I mean they're real clear, start paying attention to trying to see that it's a little more stained 2 miles up the lake than it is over here. If I go into this creek arm, it's a little bit different colored water. That can make the difference. So watercolor is number one.